Salut, bine ați venit pe blog, genul de emisiune în care ne propunem să discutăm cu oameni care au realizat ceva și care au ceva de zis. Și unul dintre ei e Matt Smith, care, în caz că nu știați, la 16 ani a câștigat concursul World's Fastest Drummer. So, hi Matt.
Hey man, ce faci, frate?
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
That and swear words are the only thing I know how to say in Romanian, so sorry. And for the people who are watching who don't understand my southern accent, we will have subtitles for you.
Yes.
Don't worry.
No problem. Okay, so what's up with you being in Romania? No World's Fastest Drummer?
Well,
That's pretty strange.
well, I graduated from the Atlanta Institute of Music, and then my parents told me that they're going back to Romania again because my dad was a Fulbright professor and he taught at the music conservatory here in Bucharest. So I followed them again back over here, and my plan was to only stay here for 1 year, but I stayed for 2. So and I'm going back to the States shortly. But yeah, and I wanted to come over here because after I graduated, I wanted to come over here and get a lot of experience in gigging because it's very easy.
How was that? Was it helpful in your career?
It was very helpful because it's back home in the States. It's so hard. You know, you're always waiting in line to get to gig and to play with people. But over here, you know, I mean, the jazz scene is fairly small, so it's easy to book gigs all the time. You know, so I gigged and I had a lot of playing experience over here. Many different clubs, Green Hours, Art Jazz.
Cool. So you worked with a lot of artists, including A.G. Weinberger.
I'm currently working with A.G. Weinberger right now, and
how's that working out?
it's going out good. When I first started with him, he took me on a tour, like a 4-day tour, and throughout Romania, through Sibiu, Târgu-Mureș, and Timișoara. So yeah, everything's working out cool with that.
So was it helpful in your career? I mean,
yeah, man. AG is like, shit, he's the godfather of blues around here, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, he has a well-known name, and he's established here, and a lot of people know him and come out to see his concert. So it's always a privilege playing with him.
yeah.
You know?
So you told me that Romania really helped you in your career.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm interested in knowing what is the difference between the jazz scene in Romania and the one in the States?
Well, I mean, sometimes the jazz scene here in Bucharest is definitely a lot smaller. I mean, because you know, in the States, you know, that's the motherland for
of course.
jazz. You know,
New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans, New York, Chicago. But over here, the jazz scene is fairly small, and sometimes you have to watch out who you talk bad to because if you piss somebody off, you know, since the scene is so small, people will hold grudges against you.
Yeah.
And there's many jazz musicians here who have long time grudges and who won't even play with each other anymore.
Really?
And you know, since the scene is so small, people can't afford to be mad at each other. You know, people have to get along and have a sense of communionship. You know?
So this is a good advice for jazz players in Romania. Stop having grudges at each other, you know?
I mean, we're not talking about everyone, but you know who you are.
Yeah, right. So you told me your father was a teacher in Romania?
Yeah, at the music conservatory.
Yeah, so how did that work out? I mean,
Well, when he taught here at 2002, 2003. He came here many times actually and did jazz camps out in the countryside. And he had 2 big bands when he was teaching. He had many jazz combos, and there was lots of students in the conservatory, lots of good musicians who he was putting out. And if you want to compare that to the conservatory now there's not a lot of jazz scene going on.
You told me that this is, and I already know this, but that's the problems you confronted, you know, the fact that in Romania there aren't any, you know, jazz schools or music schools.
Yeah, that's another problem. I mean, I don't know. Me being from the States, you know, I don't get too much in Romanian politics, you know, but sometimes, I mean, I watch out who I'm talking to, but there is really no funding for music in the middle schools or high schools. You know, either the government just isn't putting the money for it, or they don't really notice the problem and they just kind of turn their head to it, you know.
So from what you know, I mean, you have to know a lot of jazz players in Romania. Do you
Yeah.
think that they have smaller chances to go. I mean, they're very talented and have smaller chances to go big just because they don't have the
Well,
support.
staying here in Romania, not much can happen with that. Honestly, I mean, I'm not dissing anybody or
Yeah,
not
yeah,
dissing
yeah.
the area, but even for instance, AG. I mean, he has a really big name in Romania. Okay, we're not gonna use that part. We're gonna cut that.
Yeah.
Right now, let me continue. Uh, Even no matter how big of a name you got around here, especially in jazz, you aren't. You can be the best jazz musician in Romania, but that still might not mean much for people in
For
Western
the
Europe.
audience. Yeah, right,
Who
right,
don't
right.
know about you.
Yeah,
You know?
because people actually don't hear about you. They
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you told me you worked with a lot of people. Did someone influence you in your career? I mean, in a good way or in a bad way, doesn't matter. Who influenced you in your career?
Man, the most I would have to say my dad, man. But I love playing with my dad. He's probably my favorite dude to play with. I
Yeah.
don't know. But my
But
dad
jazz runs in
strongly,
your
yeah,
family.
man. My granddad was a trombone player, jazz trombonist in New Orleans. My dad was a trombonist. Luckily, I was not. My dad made sure I was gonna play drums growing up. They
Yeah.
didn't want to buy me a trombone because playing jazz is hard enough, making money, and then being a trombone player on top of that,
Yeah.
that's a hard life.
Yeah.
So they put some drumsticks in my hand, and jazz was always in the house. I was always hearing it. So I grew up with jazz, and I have a strong jazz background.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically,
That's-
all the old records I was stealing from my dad playing, and hearing my dad play growing up as a kid, that was my main strongest influence right there.
Yeah. So we're talking about differences, the states and Romania. What about the audience in Romania? What do you think about the audience?
Let me collect my words on this.
Yeah, sure, no problem. We're gonna cut anyway.
Yeah, yeah. All right, ask me again.
We were talking about differences in Romania and the States, and I was curious about the audience. What are the differences? How is the audience in the States? How is it in Romania?
Well, there's the audience here. Well, basically Europe, Eastern, Western doesn't matter. Europe has the people still have a stronger appreciation, not like but appreciation for jazz. I mean, jazz was invented in America. It's probably the best thing that ever came out of America as an invention wise. But like always, the Europeans have had a stronger appreciation for the music, and but sometimes the audience is they always differ. Each town you go through. Sometimes the audience might not be feeling you.
Yeah,
They might like it, but they might not show it or express it on their face.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's pretty strange because everyone expected for the audience in America to be like the best audience.
Right. I mean, I'm not talking about like as an audience of people, sitting in their chairs and enjoying
Yeah,
the
of
show.
course, of
I'm
course.
just talking about the appreciation from America and from Europe. I mean, jazz in America still lives strong, but compared to what it used to be, you can almost say it's dying.
Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty interesting thing. I mean, nobody expected this.
I know. It's weird, and it's kind of went backwards. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's talk about your experience in Romania.
All right.
Just no, no, no. Tell me something. What the first experience that you had in Romania?
I've gotten more pussy in my life here in Romania than I ever did back home.
One for Bucharest. Okay. So anything else?
What you want me to tell like a story or something?
Yeah, sure. Anything. What did you like about Romania? About Bucharest? What you didn't like?
Overall, man, I love Romania, man. Like, I love this city, Bucharest. I mean, I'm not a city boy, I'm from the suburbs in a little small towns down south, in America. So this is the only city I've ever lived in, and it's an incredible
Really,
experience,
Bucharest is
you
the
know?
first city you
Yeah,
lived in?
man. Yeah,
Really?
Teton. This was my home for a long time. That was my house back there. So.
Yeah.
And man, overall, my experience has been incredible, man. I've met like, it's like the friends I've made here are like the most loyal dedicated friends I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
ever
yeah.
have. You know, I mean, you know, if you need something, they will not hesitate to help you out, even if it's a risk for them, for their own sake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So
the food here is incredible. Of course, you know, you guys have natural food. Back home in America, if you eat an apple, it's probably been injected with lots and lots of preservatives.
but we still have
example.
natural food.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna last for long. Any, I don't know, bad experiences or funny experiences about Romania you have?
I've had several bad experiences. I had problems with my landlord just recently. He fucked me over with some money. No shit, we can't say that. No, I'm not gonna say that.
No,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
swear,
I had one pretty bad experience. The only one I remember is some secret police came at my door asking me for my passport one time, and I
Oh.
told him no. I tried to shut the door, and then he yanks me out into the hallway by my arm, and he demands to see my passport, and then he just like takes my passport and kind of walks away with it. But I ended up getting it back.
Yeah,
Long story short, everything ended up okay.
yeah. So you told me a funny story about the first time you landed in Romania.
Yeah. The first time I lived in Tineretului, and the plane came in overnight, so I didn't see anything, you know, and I didn't see anything of the town. And then me and my dad, we wake up next morning. My dad said, "Hey son, let's go out into the boulevard. You know, let's see what the town's like. Let's
Yeah,
see what our
take a walk,
neighborhood looks like. Yeah,
sightseeing,
we're gonna take a
stuff
walk
like that,
sightseeing
yeah.
down the street." And then as soon as I get out of my apartment, I see this big, I don't quite remember, but I think it was a bull or it was some kind of ox. This big, strong thing with big horns, and it was carrying a wagon of gypsies. And, yeah, that was
Yeah,
my
that's
first thing.
typical for
That's my
Romania.
first thing that was imprinted in my head, and
Yeah,
it's
you
kind of
know,
like being in another world, you know.
you know, I like about you because you could get past to this, you know, all the nasty stuff in Romania and see all the good things that happen here. And not many people do this, you know.
Even the nasty things that you guys are used to seeing too. It's a humbling experience for me to see it.
Yeah.
You know.
So
I mean, there's so much culture around here in the city.
yeah, I know.
You know?
Going back to music, we agreed on the fact that music today is shit. No.
Only for
questions
the mainstream music. is
Yes,
shit,
of course.
Yes.
Do you think that I don't know, ruins the chances of jazz players or blues players or any?
It does.
You know,
I mean,
old school
because
music.
since the music industries are coming up, you know, 3-chord songs. You know, this sounds cool, 3 chords.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
keep this going through the whole song, and then they put this on the radio, and the mass, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
majority of the people
So they're not
hear
looking
this
for
and,
big
and-
bands or
Yeah, man, you know, I
John
mean, it's-
Coltrane kind of stuff.
Yeah, and especially with the digital stuff that's going on with the internet now, people hacking music off the internet. I mean, you know, CDs aren't even sold anymore, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
CDs are kind of like the LPs of today. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
you know,
do you think you can't make a living with music anymore?
oh yeah, man, everyone can continue to make a living with music, but you just gotta either you have to be at the right place at the right time, or you have to have the right people working for you and helping putting your name out. You know?
Yeah, but
And make
that's
sure you're always surrounded with people you trust.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad thing, you know, because it ruins the chances for really talented players to, I
It
don't know,
does,
not
but I
make
mean,
it.
good music still exists, but you just have to keep digging underground to go. You have
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
underground to go find it.
Anyway, good music should be mainstream. That's,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, this is it, I think.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, thanks
was
for
cool.
coming, man. Keep in touch. Cum a fost, frate?
Yeah.